Imagine a law so powerful it erased all previous laws, literally making it illegal to use any other law books. That's what Emperor Justinian did with his Corpus Juris Civilis, the body of civil law. He issued a decree. All old law books and commentaries were obsolete, not to be cited or taught. It was a total reset, one code, one truth for the entire empire. For lawyers, it was terrifying. Centuries of legal wisdom gone overnight. Justinian's goal was absolute clarity and unity, a single authoritative legal system. This wasn't just a new set of rules, it was meant to be the final word on Roman law. The impact? Massive. Justinian's Code became the foundation for most European legal systems and, by extension, much of the world. The laws you know today about property, contracts, ownership, trace their roots back to this code. History is shaped by bold moves like this, one person's vision, changing everything that comes after. Justinian's Code was about power, order, and the belief that society could be organized through written rules. It was a solution to a huge problem, and it all started with an emperor ambitious enough to wipe the slate clean. So how did he pull it off? He pull it. Who was Justinian? Born a peasant in the Balkans, he rose to power through his uncle, Emperor Justin. Justinian became emperor in 527 CE, determined to restore Rome's glory. He was relentless, so driven that historians called him the emperor who never slept. His ambitions were huge: reconquer lost lands, build wonders like Hagia Sophia, and most importantly, fix Roman law. Justinian saw himself as a lawgiver, not just a conqueror. Deeply religious, he wanted a unified empire, one faith, one law. He could be ruthless, crushing revolts like the Nika riots. His wife Theodora was his partner in rule and a force for progressive reforms. But at the heart of his empire was chaos, a legal system so tangled it threatened everything he wanted to build. For Justinian, order and legacy meant fixing the law, no matter how impossible it seemed. That's where his legal revolution began. Before Justinian, Roman law was a mess. Centuries of overlapping rules, decrees, and opinions. Judges faced a nightmare, conflicting scrolls, ancient customs, and no clear answers. Legal proceedings were slow, expensive, and unpredictable. Justice depended on who had the oldest book or the cleverest argument. This chaos threatened the empire's stability, trade, and trust in government. Justinian wanted a unified, godly empire, but the laws were a jumble. He needed clear, consistent rules, accessible to everyone. On a practical level, he had to fix a broken system. Symbolically, he was claiming Rome's legal heritage for his Christian empire. By compiling and perfecting Roman law, Justinian declared, "We are the true Romans, and this is our law." It was a bold act of cultural and political consolidation. The stage was set for a legal transformation. In 528 CE, Justinian launched his legal overhaul. He assembled a commission of top legal minds, led by Tribonian, a brilliant, if controversial, lawyer. Their mission sift through centuries of laws and distill them into a single, coherent code. First, they tackled imperial constitutions, sorting, discarding, and organizing thousands of laws. In just over a year, they produced the Codex Justinianus, nearly 5,000 laws in 12 books. Next came the real challenge, the writings of classical jurists, millions of lines of legal thought. Tribonian's team condensed this vast library into the digest, extracting the best principles and logic. They also created the Institutes, a clear textbook for new law students. Justinian kept issuing new laws, collected as the Novellae. These 4 works, the Code, Digest, Institutes, and Novellae, became the Corpus Juris Civilis. The entire project was completed with astonishing speed. It was the ultimate legal decluttering, turning chaos into order. Justinian's relentless drive made it possible. The result? A legal system built to last. What's in the Corpus Juris Civilis? Think of it as a complete legal toolkit. The Codex, the main rulebook, organizing all valid imperial laws by topic. The Digest, a massive anthology of the best legal thinking, principles, logic, and case studies. The Institutes, a beginner's guide, teaching the basics of Roman law to new students. The Novellae Justinian's New Laws, updating the system as society changed. Together, these 4 books formed a closed, definitive legal system. The Codex gave judges the rules, the Digest explained the reasoning, the Institutes educated future lawyers, the Novellae kept the law current. It was clear, organized, and designed to be the final word on Roman law. For the first time, law was accessible, logical, and unified. This structure would shape legal systems for centuries. What did Justinian's laws actually say? At their core, they're surprisingly familiar. Justice was defined as giving each person their due, law as fairness. The Institutes laid out universal principles: live honestly, don't harm others, give each their due. Property law distinguished between common, public, and private things, ideas we still use. Contracts were sacred. Agreements must be kept, with clear rules for validity. Family law defined marriage, divorce, and inheritance, sometimes progressive, often strict. The Code gave women more rights and clarified adoption and legitimacy. These principles, property, contracts, family, are the backbone of modern law. Justinian's system made law understandable and predictable. It set the foundation for how we think about rights and obligations today. The logic of Roman law still shapes our world. After Justinian, his code faded in the West, surviving only in the Byzantine East. For centuries, Western Europe relied on tribal customs and lost touch with Roman law. Then, in the 11th century, the Digest was rediscovered in Italy, a legal superpower reborn. Europe was changing trade, towns, and complexity demanded better laws. Scholars at Bologna studied the Digest, writing glosses and teaching its principles. Students spread Roman law across Europe, creating a shared legal tradition, the Jus Commune. Kings loved Roman law. It justified strong, centralized authority. The Code's ideas, like what pleases the prince has the force of law, helped build modern states. Roman law became the blueprint for European legal systems. Justinian's vision echoed far beyond his empire. Justinian's Code still shapes the world today, especially in civil law countries, France, Germany, Spain, most of Latin America, and beyond. The idea of a comprehensive written code comes straight from the Corpus Juris Civilis. The Napoleonic Code, for example, was modeled on Justinian's work and spread across Europe. Even in common law countries like the US and UK, Roman law influenced legal thinking, especially in contracts and property. The DNA of Roman law is everywhere, in written codes, legal education, and the concept of rights. Whenever you sign a contract or talk about property, you're echoing Justinian's reforms. His commission's work created a framework for billions of lives. The logic of the Digest is still taught in law schools worldwide. Ideas about justice and order endure far longer than empires. Justinian's legacy is alive in the laws that govern us all. Justinian's Code is a story of turning chaos into order. He didn't invent Roman law, but he saved and shaped it for the future. By organizing centuries of legal thought, he preserved a legacy that outlived his empire. Law became the architecture of society, enabling economies, governments, and rights. The Corpus Juris Civilis gave us the language and logic of modern law. Of course, it wasn't perfect. It included harsh, outdated rules and reflected its time. But its rational framework allowed later generations to adapt and improve it. A good system can outlive its creator, evolving in ways he never imagined. Justinian wanted a monument to his power. He created a living tradition. His code started a conversation about justice that's lasted 1,500 years. The stones of Rome may crumble, but the logic of the law endures. That's the true power of Justinian's vision. Thanks for watching. See you next time.